I'm Jason Alexander.
And I'm Peter Till.
Welcome back to Bachelor Happy Hour's Golden Hour. Thank you so much for joining us again. We're so excited to be back, huh, Kathy?
I miss seeing you, Susan. Seeing you, it's just like, it just makes me smile for the day.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are so glad to be back. And I don't know, we've had some great episodes lately. We've been interviewing the guys from Joan's season.
How fun is that?
We've had some good fun. So if you've been missing those, you don't know what you're missing. You need to get and check them out.
And how about our year? Let's just recap. I mean, it's the end. We're into a new year. What, in a word, would you say about this year of our life?
The past year, 2024?
Yes.
I would say 2024 was a gift and incredible. Can't say one word. And in 2025, I think it's going to be more of the same. What about you?
It was magical. It was magical.
It was
and
magical.
I feel grateful and like we deserved it. We really do. Being in touch with all these wonderful people out here. Total strangers that we've never met before in our life. How about it, Kathy? I know it touches you like it does me.
It does. I don't want to start crying. So
I know.
But I
know.
think that is probably the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
Is seeing the lives that we've touched in a positive way.
In our podcast, that we can reach all these people.
Yeah.
And bring a little humor or a little sadness or a little reality, a little bit of everything.
Aren't you glad, though, when Susan and I are together, which, we seem to spend at least some time of 1 month together for some reason or another.
We make it happen.
We make it happen. That's right. She has to do my hair. I mean, come on. It doesn't look like this way because it's magical. She does it. But when people come up to us, I think that's the other big thing for me, sort of in looking back on last year, is we have a platform that we can not only listen to people, but we can make people feel better about themselves. Mm-hmm. And that to me has been the biggest, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to positively affect other people's lives because life can be tough. Mm-hmm. What about you, Susan? What's the biggest thing?
I've enjoyed every single moment of it. And I cannot wait to experience all the things we have yet to do in 25. We're going to start with going out to Carmel and playing golf in Pebble Beach. That's going to be amazing.
And then we're going to go to St. Martin and rip up the city again, rip up the island
again. We get to
again.
stay even longer.
I just, we're going to get into our podcast here, but I just want to remind people it's a new year. It's a new start. Don't let the sad things that have plagued you in 2024 try to have a positive outlook in 2025 because so much of life is what you make of it. It's so much of it is attitude. Bring a positive attitude.
Try to make a new friend this year. Just one even.
Yeah. I like it.
Put it out there. Put that energy out there and it will happen.
And Susan, for you and I, we're going to have a date this year.
I think we're going to have a date this year.
Not together.
No.
We're going to each find a date.
This is for all the men out there. You know what I realized, Kathy? Somebody said this to me not too long ago. Susan, men your age really aren't on social media.
They're not.
Like when they told us, your DMs are going to be full, blah, 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 blah. There's not a lot of men that go on Instagram or Facebook. And so
they're on, I think more on Facebook.
If you're tuning into this, you're hearing us that we are, both single.
If they could find this podcast under, this might be the time to give our,
instructions.
Let's give our instructions for the New Year's. If you're here, but you might have friends who want to find us, who say, I can't find it. So help them find us. All you got to do is go to Bachelor Happy Hour, wherever you get podcasts. Search for Bachelor Happy Hour, click the follow button, and then scroll down and you'll see a picture of Susan and me having a grand old time.
Golden hour. That's us. Golden
hour, because we're golden. All right. You ready to get into the question of the day?
Okay, let's do this. Go ahead.
All right. What's one thing you really wish you could change about dating culture? Oh, what's yours? I mean, mine's so obvious. What's yours?
Stop ghosting. I don't like somebody that ghost. It
I
happened
don't know.
to
Why
me.
do you, thi-
It's
why do you
just
think
mean.
people ghost? Why do you think they do that?
They chickened out. Well, I had several thoughts. The one time when it happened to me, I thought he's probably married or something and shouldn't have been coming anyhow, which I'd be glad that he didn't come. But yeah, like treat people like you want to be treated. You wouldn't like being stood up. Be honest about who you
This
are.
is why everyone loves you, Susan. I mean, because that's such a obvious and clear and heartfelt
It's
thing
true
that you
though.
would change about
Nobody
dating.
likes
No, I
that.
agree. I guess mine was a little more selfish in
What?
that I wish that dating culture, I wish that men, and yet women do it too. I wish we didn't just start and stop with the looks of someone. I wish we could know someone's inner heart a little
That has
sooner than we
happened
can.
because of the dating sites. You swipe, so something's got to catch your eye for you to stop and read.
Well,
more.
it has to catch your eye in person too.
Yeah,
But I
yes.
think I said this selfishly. I said the word selfish because you and I, we goof around. We're silly. We're bigger than life. But we're also
Very
nice people.
independent. People judge us for what we portray. Yet we have a soft side, a big heart. I know, I cry like a baby. I mean,
Yeah,
we
I
feel
don't know. It's-
sad when people just don't get us for what we really are. There's a lot more to us
Yeah.
than just being outspoken.
I mean, I wish it were. I guess the other
I feel
thing
like I'm
wish.
selling myself.
Yeah, don't. We're not. We're not. I think the other thing I wish, though, is that there were more organic ways to meet people because the dating sites suck. We all know that. We
It's
don't
not
want to admit
happening
it.
in the grocery store. I tried. I squeezed
What's
the fruit.
Susan? Susan, what is a grocery store, and why would anyone go there?
Why would you know that? Even at Home Depot.
There you go, Home Depot. I frequent.
Okay, we have some fan questions.
Okay, you want to take the first one?
Sure. Okay, this is from Claire. And Claire asks, "Hi, Kathy and Susan. I really need your help. My boyfriend really wants to have a threesome.
Yeah.
I'm not even opposed to the idea. I'm just really annoyed that he asked. Do you think this is a red flag?
Wait,
We've been
didn't we just
dating-
talk about? Wait a second, I have to interrupt.
Yeah.
Is there a thing this month on threesomes? We talked with Guy about a threesome. What is this with threesomes?
We
Okay,
were
I'm
just
sorry.
sleeping in his bed. That's all.
All right, carry on.
Okay, do you think this is a red flag? We've been dating for 6 years, met sophomore year of college, and he says it would be fun to shake things up. He doesn't have anyone in mind, supposedly. What should I do? I'm kind of interested, but I also feel like this is a red flag. He's never asked for something like this before. Any advice would be great. Well,
Can I just dive in here?
it's not like they're married 40 years and it's getting boring and trying to liven it up a little. This is young.
This would be called
Ouch.
Claire. This would be called a bleeding
Red
crimson red flag.
But wait
If
a
you
minute.
think
She's
it's-
not opposed to the idea.
So go for it. But you know what? When you're done with a threesome and he wants a sixsome, and you find out it's not a good. It doesn't bode well for a relationship that
This early.
ultimately, I'm guessing you're going to want monogamous and the horses out of the barn, whatever it's called. I don't know. Susan, be honest.
Well, let's just say this.
Would you
how about
do
if
it?
she? No, how about if she says, 2 men and me, you
The
and
answer
another
still
man?
no.
No, for him. I wonder if he'd change his tune. Does he just want 2 women? I mean, think about it. He's suggesting it.
See,
He's
you stay
thinking,
up late nights thinking of the solutions to these problems. I'm just like, Claire, it's a red flag. You know, if you're interested, go for it. And that's okay, by the way. Let me just say, not
She
everyone
says I'm
wants
kind of
them.
interested.
Not everyone wants a monogamous relationship. I get it. I'm a weirdo because, I want the guy who loves me and I love and wants to spend the rest of his life with me, which I know is weird. Not. So I would say what
If
you should
you're
do is what
really
you feel
that
like doing, but understand, as my mother once told me, there are consequences for your actions. And this may change permanently and irrevocably the
Yes, it
dynamics
could.
of your
Yes,
relationship.
it could. But if she's interested, I'm just saying, if you're both there, try it that way.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead and try
See
it.
if
I'm
he
just
still
saying.
feels the same way about two men and a woman instead of two women. And that's where I would want to know.
Well,
'Cause
what if?
sometimes guys just want to get off with two women. I mean, I get it.
How do you know these things, Susan?
I'm just worldly, Kath.
See, I was home baking brownies.
You
taking
got
care of-
married at 20. You didn't even get to date. You just got married. And you had a great marriage. So consider yourself very fortunate.
And you know what? If I find Mr. Right again, we are not having a threesome.
No,
Just saying.
I don't believe you. I don't like to
Just
share
saying.
my men. I'd like them all to myself.
Yeah, well, I hear you. I'm not in the mood to share either. So
No.
This podcast is brought to you by Kim Crawford Wines. This seed salads and light acidity is highlighted with fluid ounce servings.
Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Jason Alexander.
And I'm Peter Drop By.
Mr. Brian Cranston is with us today.
let's move on to the next question. That's what I
Okay.
say.
You got
Okay, this one's
anonymous.
from Anonymous. Kathy and Susan, I am freaking out and I need you. The other night, I noticed that my boyfriend liked his ex's really hot picture. Like I literally saw her picture on his phone and watched him like it. Oh, wait, are we just having bleeding red flags
I
here
swear to
today?
God.
Okay, I kept my composure and went to the bathroom to do some investigating. Sure, she did. Turns out he's been liking all of her pictures for basically all of our relationship. I was going to ask how I should bring it up to him, but I just realized I sent crying emojis and a screenshot of the offense to him instead of my best friend.
Oh, shit.
Really? Do you believe that? Okay. So now I have to talk about it. LOL. I'm leaving for vacation tomorrow, so we're dealing with when I'm back in a week. Help. I got to say, I don't believe for 1 minute she sent it by mistake. You did it because you wanted him to
Sweetheart,
know.
you saw him hit like, you say it right then and there. You don't
Yeah.
go in the bathroom to investigate. You say, what the F? I mean, really, what is going on? Why
And-
are you liking that?
And why are you? I mean, here's my thing. We don't know how old this girl
Yeah,
is,
no.
but there's so many men in the sea when you're young. Why would you put up with someone who? I'm sorry, I'm sounding old fashioned today.
Maybe
but
he
that's
still has
infidelity.
something for his ex. I mean,
I'm sure he does.
I don't
Why
know.
else would you? Let's go down this road, Susan. Why on God's green earth would you be doing that? Why? What?
Why would you be
possess-
doing what? What are you saying?
Why would you, either side, why would you be liking your ex's photos? And no, what? No, it's a serious question. Why?
And a hot picture, no less, because he thinks it's hot. Men don't even think about other people's feelings, I guess. Yeah.
You
And for you to
think
go
this
to the
is a guy
bathroom
who's
to
ready
hide
for-
and investigate? No, girl. You
You
stand up.
think this
right then and
anonymous
there.
is ready? You think she or he is ready for a relationship? She's crying in her panties in the bathroom, and he's busy liking his ex-girlfriend. I mean, what the heck? I say both of you need to grow up. Am I
Yeah.
being mean?
No, that's not mean. But like I said, call it right when you see it. Don't hold
Okay,
on to it.
let's play this game. You call. I'm the guy. Call it. Call me on it. You're the girl crying in the bathroom. Call me on it.
No, I didn't go to the bathroom. I'm right
I'm
there
saying,
when you hit
call- yeah,
like,
call me
really?
on it.
You liked it a lot? Is that what you want? Talk
Susan,
to me.
what's your issue? She's an ex-girlfriend. We're just social friends. We're just friends on Facebook
Okay,
and Insta.
one. And now you're going to like them all? Go get her then if that's what you like.
Well, but I love you. I want you. But I'm just liking her pictures.
Okay, then when I get online and like all my exes, are you going to be bothered by it? Because if you're not, okay, we're cool. Now
No,
move
we're
on.
not cool. See, that's where you and I are different. If this guy defended his right to like hot pictures and maintain a relationship with his ex, I am yesterday's news to him. I'm out the door and on my way to find a new guy.
Because I got to be number one.
That's right. All right.
I hear you.
I feel so harsh today. I don't mean to. It's just like,
Okay.
to me, these are like bleeding
No
red.
brainers, but it's
Yeah.
a different world, Kathy, than when we grew up. It really
Yeah.
is.
You know what? There's color TV and cell phones.
There's another anonymous. Hi, ladies. I really need your help with my mom. I love her so much, but our relationship is so rocky. Growing up, I was always getting straight A's and never got into trouble, but my mom still found ways to ground me. I'm 24 now, and we've made a lot of progress, but I think I need to create some serious boundaries. She doesn't respect me when I need space, and she gets really, really emotional. Any disagreement, no matter how small, gets out of hand. It gets so out of hand. It sounds like two sisters arguing, and I feel like I often have to be the parent in the situation. How do I create boundaries without ending our relationship? I pay for everything myself, so money isn't an issue. I just don't want to lose my mom. Oh. How old is she? 24. Maybe it's time to get a place of your own and build a different kind of relationship that she doesn't
look
see
at
every
you.
single...
We're back on the agreement train again. That's exactly where I was going.
Yeah.
I don't know, Anonymous, if your mom is envious or jealous of your situation. When you say two sisters arguing, you know, my mom was always my mom. We didn't get along. But when I had my own daughter, we would fight sometimes because mothers and daughters do. But we never fought as sisters. I would say to her, I am your mom, not your friend. So there might be some relationship issues there that your mom treats you more like a friend instead of a
also
daughter.
Maybe there's not a dad around and it's just the two of them. That's what I'm
Maybe.
guessing
The way
here.
you create boundaries is to create your own space. It's short and simple.
Mm-hmm.
Anonymous, it's time for you. If you're still in school, I get it. You might need another year or so, but you need to respect your mom and her home. If I'm
And tell her
assuming
how
we're
much
making
you
a lot of
love her,
assumptions
but
here.
you need your own space. Yeah.
Yeah, we're making a lot of assumptions. We're assuming that you live with her, that grounding you at 24. So we don't have enough information here. Why are you still living at home? Are you working and paying rent? What's the deal?
She says she's paying for everything. So, yeah, she pays for her.
So if money's
everything
not an
herself.
issue, my dear, you said it yourself. I pay
Yeah.
for everything myself, so money isn't an issue. Then you know what? Go get yourself a place to live because money's not an issue.
Yeah. And then when the time you spend with your mom will be good.
Exactly. Problem solved. Let us know how it
wish
goes,
you
Anonymous.
luck. We wish you luck.
Okay. Question 4. Molly asks, hi, ladies. I need your help. I went on a first date last night. Well, Molly, you lucky duck. We ended. Oh, wait a second. And we ended up sleeping together. Maybe not so
Okay.
lucky. We had such great chemistry the whole night, and it just sort of happened. I really like him and was really excited this morning when we grabbed coffee before he brought me home. He's going out, of course he is. He's going out of town this week with his family, so he told me he'd see me when he gets home. The problem is, I told my friend this, and now she's worried that because we slept together, nothing serious will happen. Is that true? Susan, get out your crystal ball. Are there any signs I should be looking out for? I really like him, and I really cannot go on another first date.
Well, first of all,
Molly,
you can go on another
Molly,
first
Molly.
date. It'll take a minute, but you got to just see what happens now. You did what you did. Probably regretfully because nobody wants to put it
Oh,
out
no.
the first night.
Oh, no,
because
she's not regret.
I know the chemistry was great. I know all about it, but 9 times out of 10, that's not the person they want the long-term relationship with. You got to hold the goods for a little bit.
Exactly. Here's the thing. Why would you buy the cow when you get the milk for free?
But that's already done, so
I
we
know.
gotta deal with that.
So is there something you should be looking out for? You know, again, Susan and I are of a certain age. You know, having sex on the first date, it's not always a bad thing, but now you've got yourself in a situation. Are there things I should be looking out for? Yeah. Looking out and see if he contacts you would be number one.
That's exactly. Do not reach out to him.
Wait to see if he reaches out to you. You said you really like him. You barely know him, Molly. You don't know anything about him.
He
Except
might have been
you-
pretty good and pleased her, Kat, so she liked it.
Oh, God, does it always come down to sex for you, Susan?
Well, that's what I'm
Jesus.
reading. They had sex.
Ay, ay, ay. When you say you can't go on a first date, you sound a little needy, girlfriend. Did you think if
doesn't
you didn't
wanna
have sex with
start.
him, you weren't going to hear from him again? I think you
I
need to
wonder,
reevaluate.
did it just happen? And sometimes it does. The passion
No,
is there.
it doesn't just happen.
But,
Wait, stop the presses.
go ahead. What doesn't just happen?
Sex does not just happen. Clothes have to come off. No, it doesn't just happen. People make choices to have sex. And please, God, tell me you use some protection, because the last thing we need is another unwanted child in this world.
Or
I'm sa-
worse. Or worse, because you
So-
don't know where each other's been. Yeah, you got to check all those boxes before you do that. But maybe they slept together, so that maybe I don't know how far they went.
I mean, your friend said you slept together on the first date, so nothing serious will happen. Molly, there's some old adages, tried and true things. I already said one: when you get the milk for free, why buy the cow? Another one is the guys that sleep with you too soon on a date, you're not the one they're going to bring home to meet
They don't
mama.
respect it, right?
So you're not going to be respected. So, these are things that you're young and you think that you know what you want, but in the end, maybe it's time to slow your roll and think about what you really want. And
Or on the other hand, I've known people that they've done that and they've been together ever since. So
Yeah.
there is that possibility. But think before you do stuff. That's all.
yeah, think, and Susan's right. Don't reach out and text him. He may be ghosting
Maybe
you.
once,
It may
but
be
just-
one and done.
You could do it once to let him know that you're interested, but do not repeat it. Let him reach out to you.
Yeah.
And then you're
Molly,
there with open arms when he gets
Yeah,
there.
I truly wish you the best. I
Mm-hmm.
really hope, though, that you do go on several more first dates, because that's how you find the right person for you. If it's not this guy, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Hopefully you'll have chemistry with a lot of guys, and you'll meet the guy that really, really makes you happy. And you may or may not know that on a first date.
Yeah, I know. Now it's
Let
time
us
to
know.
get to know
Let us
Kathy
know
and
when he comes home
Susan.
a week from now. Reach out to us on
Yeah, we're
bachelornation.com
definitely
/golden
curious.
hour.
Please
let us
let us know.
All right.
All right,
So,
so
today
today
we're going to
we're-
be. Oh, go ahead.
Today, we're going to be answering more fun questions about our past so you guys can get to know us even better. Kathy, do you want to read us the first one?
Yeah, I'm glad you have to answer this one. What was the first car you ever drove, and what was it like when you first learned how to drive?
The first car was a Mustang. Actually, the very first car I ever drove was a pickup truck. I didn't have my license. And it was an emergency, and I had to drive. And it was a stick shift, too. Wow, was that scary. But my dad taught me to drive. My first car was a Mustang.
Oh, cool.
Hey,
So
yeah, I'm a good
the first car I
driver.
ever drove was, I think it was my mom's Chevy Impala. And, it was fun. But my best first driving story was when I was married at 20, living in Scotland. We got a car, and that's where I learned to drive a stick shift. And I drove the car, obviously, the steering wheel was on the right side of the car. So I learned to drive a stick shift, shifting with my left hand, using the
God,
clutch,
that's
the whole
crazy,
thing.
yeah.
So that was my fun story.
Wow. When you were a kid, what was your favorite thing to have for dinner? Oh, gosh. Why, Kathy? She's not the foodie.
You know what? My mother I can cook. My mother was a horrible cook. And Saturday nights we had train wreck. It was all the leftovers from the week. So my favorite thing to have for dinner was on Friday nights, she would take us out to Howard Johnson's and we'd have the fish fry. And it was so delicious to have French fries and fried fish that came from, probably the harbor in Boston. What about you?
That's a hard one for me because my father was a butcher. My mom was a good cook. I used to like chicken or veal cutlets.
Seriously, as a child, you had veal cutlets.
Absolutely.
Oh, jeez.
My dad was
I was lucky if I got a pork boiled hot dog.
Steak night was always good.
Please. Okay, what was your best friend like? Your first best friend? Oh, I can. What? Blonde?
She was blonde. Yes. She was smart. She was a cheerleader with me. We were a lot alike.
Oh, gosh. My first best friend, her name was Betsy. Now she goes by Liza. She is a rabbi in Massachusetts. Now we still, every once in a while, connect with each other. I loved Betsy. Her dad worked for a very famous clothing store in Boston, and I would go to her house after school in first grade, and her mother had all these beautiful clothes on the bed. Betsy, pick out whatever you'd like. And you know, my mother dressed us from the Salvation Army if I was lucky. So it was like going to a castle and watching the beautiful clothes and I just remember I wish I had all the beautiful things that she had.
Yeah. Okay, when did you take your first vacation as a young adult and where was it?
We never took vacations.
No. As a young adult, so that would mean on our own.
I was married, my honeymoon.
Yeah. Before my senior week, we went to over Easter vacation, Easter break, and we went to Fort Lauderdale. That used to be the big thing.
Wait, Fort Lauderdale. No, I just remembered my sophomore year in high school. My dad was working in Florida, so we went and we lived in Florida for the summer, and they took us all to the Bahamas, and we went to the gambling casino.
But not with your parents. Your first young adult.
Oh,
You're
it doesn't
going on
say
your
that.
own.
It says when did you take your first as a young adult?
As a young adult.
Oh, well,
Did you ever go away with your girlfriends before you married or no?
I was barely legal before I got married. No,
But you
but
were
my
20.
first, when I can tell you this, my first trip after I got married, we didn't take a honeymoon because my husband had to report to Georgia for Naval Supply Corps school, and so we didn't get a honeymoon. My first vacation was our first anniversary. We were supposed to go to Paris, and he had his leave canceled. So I went with a bunch of the women to Paris. That was my
Oh,
first.
there you go. There
Yeah,
you go. That's a
that
nice
was it.
one. Okay.
All right. What was the time? I don't want to talk about my youth. It was miserable. What was the time in your youth that you got out of a sticky situation? Oh, this ought to be good. When did you get out of a sticky situation unscathed, Susan?
I never got out of anything. I got caught doing everything.
I was going to say, swimming in the pools, climbing over the fences, you got caught.
What's the biggest risk you've ever taken?
Biggest risk that I knew I was taking? I mean, I think the biggest risk I ever took, but it was unwitting, was getting married at 20, but it was a great risk and it was a great ride. I think the biggest risk I ever took that I knew I was taking was going on The Golden Bachelor.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Yeah. Mhm.
That was because I knew what I was getting myself into.
Did you
too?
go to your high school reunion?
I've never been to a reunion.
Oh, you're kidding.
No.
Why?
I've told you this, Susan, and I think I've said it on the podcast. I weighed almost 200 pounds. And
All the more reason looking as good as you do.
well, I didn't know. I was pretty much of a quiet girl in high school, believe it or not. And
It is hard to believe.
I was. And so I never went to my reunions. And I don't really want to go to them.
Why? Is there a specific reason?
I feel like it would be going back and seeing strangers. The small group of friends I had, most of them didn't go back. You got to remember, I graduated high school in the drug culture just when it was the early 70s.
Yeah.
Drugs were becoming a big thing. It wasn't cool to go to reunions. So, no, I've never been to mine.
I've been to all of them.
Of course you have.
Well, I don't
Really?
understand why somebody wouldn't go.
Well, first of all, let me say to you, you live in the same town you grew up in.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. So you really, other than living a short
most
time
of the
in
time,
Dallas,
I had a fly-in. I was in
I'm
Texas,
saying,
Dallas,
but your
Texas.
friend. My point is, you've maintained many of your childhood friends. I left Massachusetts. I grew up in Newton, Massachusetts. I left when I was 20, and other than to visit family, I haven't been back. So when I go back, I still have a few friends that I keep in contact with.
Do you
high
get
school.
notified when there's a reunion? Like, were you told? Or you didn't
Well,
even
the
know?
last one they tried to have was during COVID, and they tried to have
Yeah.
it 2 or 3 times, and they
That's a
gave
tough
up.
one.
They gave up. And now, honestly, Susan, when I see pictures of my high school friends
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook, a few of the guys that I've known since grade school, they still reach out to me. They're great guys. Jimmy, if you can hear me, Larry, if you can hear me, you're great. They reach out, but for the most part, I wouldn't know people that I
Maybe
went to high
that's
school
part of
with.
it. I went to an all girls high school,
okay.
so it's a different field. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Oh, well, this is which of your current friends have you known the longest? Who?
Gosh, I've known them all for 30 plus years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, how did your parents come up with your name, and were you almost named something else?
So this is an
Weird.
interesting
How am I
story for
supposed
me.
to know what my parents were thinking?
My parent, well, I actually asked my parents this question. My parents had 5 children in 6 years, one set of twins. My grandmother, my mother's mother, who actually was the kindest person in my life as a child. Her first name was Helen, and that is my middle name. And I gave it up when I got married and took my maiden name, Block. But I still love that name, Helen.
Because of that person.
Because of that. My name, Catherine, I don't know where it came from. I don't know why they didn't name me Helen after her mother. But my nickname as a child was Kiki. And guess what my grandmother name is?
Kiki.
Kiki. So that's
That's cute.
What about
That's
you?
Really cute.
What about
Nah,
you?
I have no idea. They named me Susan, and that stuck.
Well, Kathy and Susan were very popular names
Yes.
back in the 50s and 60s. They were a dime a dozen. Everybody, I have a sister,
Donna,
Susan.
Donna,
yeah, I have a
Kathy,
sister, Susan.
Susan,
I have a
Denise.
cousin, you have a cousin, Donna.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ever have an ex or lost love reach out to you later in life? I bet you did.
Yes. All of them. But the most important one was his wife. I'm going to cry. His wife reached out to me because he was killed in a car accident. And I couldn't imagine how she even knew of me. But he must have shared. It was my first real love,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know this will sound as a shocker to you, but the only
You didn't
real
have a lot of the exes.
I had
Kathy. You
I had
married him.
one guy in high school. His name was Seth. So, Susan, I have a funny story. My husband, this guy Seth, never saw him after I graduated high school. 8, 9, 10 years later, I am in Cambridge. My husband's in graduate school, and I am walking in Harvard Square. And I see this guy, Seth, coming at me.
That's him.
I see him, and I was like, it was like, really? I mean, it was nice to see him, but obviously there was nothing there.
like, oh my
And I
God,
said,
blast from
"Oh,
the
Seth,
past."
it's so." I did. I said, "It's so great to see you. I'd love to have you come over. My husband's in business school. We don't have any money, but I'd love to have you come over, and I'll
Why
make
would
spaghetti."
you tell him we don't have any money?
Because we had
Where's
no
that-
money. We were
So
putting
why?
ourselves through. Well, because I wasn't going to feed him a fancy meal. I was in school full time at university in Boston and working full time. And my husband was a full time student, so we had nothing. And happy days of our lives. But anyway, I said to him, I'd love to have you over. We live, just down the street. I'd love to have you come over. I'll make spaghetti. And as you know, Susan, I don't cook, so that was a big undertaking. Do you know what he said to me? And this is when I was like, boy,
What?
if I needed another reason that I had the wrong guy. He said, well, I'd love to come for dinner, but I'm vegan, so I couldn't have the meatballs. And I looked at him, I went, okay, I'll give you pasta. That was it. I hadn't seen the guy in 10 years. I had to hear he was vegan.
Okay, Seth, good for you.
Yeah, and that was.
And
did
we're
he ever come
ending
for
on
dinner?
that one.
Yeah, we're ending on that one. He never came for dinner. It was over and out.
Oh gosh, this has been fun, and that does it for today's episode. They seem to fly by.
You know what? We hope that you guys love getting to know a little bit more about us. You make us so happy with your fan questions that you write. We
Yes.
hope that it makes you happy hearing a little bit more about our
We
lives.
appreciate that you do tune in to our golden hour from Bachelor Happy Hour.
And before you go, wait, we you know the drill. You've
yes,
got
they
to
do.
follow. Please, you must know the drill. You want to follow Bachelor Happy Hour because we have new episodes coming out. It's a new year, lots of new guests. So please tune in.
And you remember how to submit those questions, right? BachelorNation.com/golden hour or DM us on Instagram at Bachelor Happy Hour and we'll get it.
We'll get it. Listen to Bachelor Happy Hour's Golden Hour on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you listen to podcasts. Till next time, take care.
Ciao. Happy New Year.